today is Monday, January 5th, 2026. I am overnighting in the town where my office is again tonight due to bad weather. We've had snowfall all day and we're getting freezing rain all day tomorrow. Hopefully, the roads are clear enough for me to go home at the end of the day. I have a very interesting and fortunate work situation. We have a 3-story building. The main story is our office space, and the top story is a currently vacant from tenants apartment. So I have some options when the weather gets bad if I'm already in the office and therefore don't have the ability to work remote. So I thought I would spend a little bit of my time here tonight showing you how I have set up my craft journal for the 2026 year. For 2025, and I plan to have one again for 2026, I had the Needlework Enthusiast Book of Days. I did really well. I have tracked, as far as I know, every single stitch that I did for the 2025 year. When I started cross stitching, PDF patterns didn't exist. I was always a paper stitcher, and that was true up until maybe a couple of years ago. And now I'm 100% PDF, can't paper stitch anymore. So this is sort of the spread that I had in January of 2025, and again, I plan to continue something similar when my 2026 book shows up. There were a lot of months last year that I didn't get any stitching or any crafting done. We started looking for a home to purchase in December, January, February, and we moved in August. So there was quite a long disruption period to my crafting where we were packing and moving and unpacking and all that stuff. Like I mentioned, 2026, I have my book of days on the way, and I plan to continue tracking my cross stitching in there. I have this little, I believe it's an A5 Midori notebook with a paper cover on it that I'll be using to track all of my crafting, and I've decided recently my reading too. So the first page in this notebook is a 2025 end of year set of lists. It has the cross stitch finishes that I did in 2025 and a listing of the cross stitch projects that are following me into 2026. It has the dates started for the 2026 project. And then on the next page, I have a list of 2026 cross stitch goals. I'll go into the contents of this book more probably at the end of a WIP parade. So I've got a few cross stitch goals listed. I've got a list of knitting finishes from 2025, which again are much less than normal because of my months of no crafting with knitting, and a list of my knitting projects coming into 2026. I've got a general 2026 goals and plans list on another page. It includes some things like having my 301A Singer sewing machine serviced, filming a WIP parade, which I have done my own janky version of recently, and it just needs editing. I want to participate in the Elder Stash Mal that's being hosted on YouTube and Instagram, and I'll pop those particulars on the screen. I want to do a morning and evening routine every day. And I do not want to buy any more self-striping fingering weight sock yarn, and I also don't want to buy any new superwash merino yarn. I'm trying to, when I do contribute to my stash, to have non-superwash, non-merino yarn, and I want to save up for an electric base for my drum carder. I'll pop a link in. It's a Clemis and Clemis Elite convertible drum carder. Very well made. I've had absolutely no issues with it. Their customer service is fantastic. Every product of theirs that I own is amazing, and I would like to update or upgrade my crank drum carder with the electric base. I've also transferred all of my yarn stash data by year. I've also got it all in an Excel spreadsheet, but it's now in my little book just in summary format. I did end up with more commercial yards of yarn in my stash at December 31st, 2025 than I had December 31st, 2024. My goal going forward is to decrease my stash and, like I mentioned earlier, not replace anything with superwash wool or with merino or self-striping. When I do a tour of my craft yarn or my craft room, when I'm finished setting that up, I'll show you sort of what my downsize plans are for which cabinet I would like to have for what purpose. And down here, I've just added in my elder stash data for December of 2025. So I've got roughly 30,000 yards of commercial yarn purchased in 2017 and roughly 32,000 yards of commercial yarn purchased in 2018. And I will be choosing from that elder stash to contribute to the elder stash mill. The next section of my book is current cross stitch projects, their statuses as of the end of 2025. So I've gone online and found a finished object photo, printed it off onto some, I guess it's essentially a label, adhesive label piece of paper, and cut that out and then put the sticker in my book. And I'll go through this again more in a WIP parade, but cross stitch projects following me into 2026 are Come to the Garden by Teresa Kogut, Summer Quaker by Leela Studio, Disturbed Women by Lucy Beam, Moonshine Cabin by Modern Folk Embroidery, and Homely House Plants by Stitchotomy, which was a Sal once upon a day. Also Masquerade by Ink Circles, Vanity Sampler by, I believe it's Hello from Liz Matthews. It's hard to read backwards. Yes, and Meg the Moth Woman by Night Spirit Studio. On this page I have Whale with Boat by Needle Lot Design. This is a year-long potions temperature cell by Teeny Weeny Cross Stitch, which I decided to do one for 2025 because we had an Eastern Caribbean cruise, so there would be some interesting variety in the colder months with temperature, and because we purchased a home, I would have something worthy of commemoration for the year. The last one on this page is All Souls Vera Landon by Quiltify Design. And one more page of cross-stitch projects following me into 2026. I have the Widow Frog by Night Spirit Studio, and I don't know what the name of the pattern is. I've been calling it Gnome Christmas Tree by Jardin Privé. I have set up my first month, so January 2026, some washi tape in my stash, a little graphic that came to me in an Etsy order that says Begin Anew. This is a piece of a page of a book. I don't recall which book it was. It came to me in like a little Etsy scrap paper package. It's in the shape of an L, which is my first initial, so I've put that in there. And then I finished reading a book in January of 2026 already, so I've written down the particulars on my little audiobook sticker. And I have just a removable tab with 01 for January so that I can find my way more easily through the book. And all of my pages are blank. I like the small size of this notebook, meaning the fewer number of pages, because I can put in stickers and pictures and scraps and bits, and it won't get so thick that the bindings on it break because it's not bound in that fashion like with a glue binding. I like the paper cover because if I had gotten a stain or a mark on the actual cover of the notebook, I would have lost my mind. I can't deal with that. And I like that it's big enough that I'll be able to have quite a few months worth of crafting in here, and I won't be constantly flipping between notebooks or needing to transfer data over to another new notebook. So that was the craft journal that I finally, after much consideration and messaging contacts on Instagram and YouTube, have decided upon. These Midori notebooks came in a pack of 3, so I have 2 more just the same. And when my 2026 Book of Days planner shows up, I will be doing similar to what I had done in 2025. I highlight all of my starts and finishes so they're easy to locate. And the rare event that I work on more than one cross stitch in a day, I write down the number of stitches into each and total them in the bottom corner. And then at the end of the year, I went through and totaled all of my stitches by month so that I was able to easily add them together and get my cross stitch data for the entire year. My math, which anyone who knows me knows is not good, but I've had an adult check this. For the entire year, I had 32,448 cross stitches, 15 new starts, and 7 finishes. And I'll just do a quick flip through this book. I didn't put too much art or tape or stickers or anything into. When I happen to find or come across or be gifted a sticker, I put it in the month that was applicable in my Book of Days. January has a little 4-leaf holographic clover. I've never personally found a four-leaf clover. It drives me nuts. I've been looking for one since I was a little kid. I've never found one. February, I came across this little suitable sticker, so I popped that in the month of February. And this is about when we started looking for a home. So my cross stitching died down and then off last year. I think April was my last big sort of month of cross stitching. I had started in 2025 putting when I started my knitting projects in here, and it just didn't feel right to me. I track all of them in Ravelry, and I also have an Excel spreadsheet that I put everything in. Yeah, there wasn't much. September again, end of September, I picked up some cross stitching, some crafting, but there wasn't very much for the rest of 2025. I'm so busy with everything. Anyway, so my new book is coming soon. And when I set that up and have something interesting in it to share with you, I will pop up a quick video of that. Bye.